This is an audio test. Please enter the number. You can hear me. If you guys can hear me, please enter the number 1. Otherwise, please enter 0 if you do not hear me. I apologize. I have had quite a bit to drink tonight, but I don't really want this to be a super long live stream. So, yeah, do me a favor and please enter 1 if you hear me. 1 if you hear me. I'll go ahead and wait for you guys to do that. Okay, perfect. You guys can hear me. All right, cool. So, hey, what's up, everybody? So, I've got a number of things on my mind. I've got a lot of things on my mind right now, and I'm glad that I'm joined by you guys tonight. It's a pretty rough world. It's a very, very rough world, and it sucks when you realize the basic rationale behind why the world is a very cruel, dark, apathetic place. And I mean, everyone else is mired in conspiracy theories and they're all busy blaming things that really aren't the source of it. I mean, and that's the reason why we have all these conspiracy theories, right? That's the reason why we have Alex Jones to capitalize on people's paranoia and people's desire to look between the lines and look for like the root cause behind what is the underlying source of the woes in people's lives. And it really is just capitalism, like more than anything else. But because people in the first world benefit so much from it, we get our Twinkies and our Walmart and our beer and our, our little trinkets and toys. It's funny to think that fucking I always laugh. I'm sorry, but this is a little bit of a tangent, but I always laugh thinking that like the Soviet people abandoned communism, abandoned like economic security just so they can have Twinkies and shit. Like that always kind of makes me laugh, like knowing that like there's a counterculture in like the Eastern Europe in like the 80s that like wanted that consumer economy and they were willing to trade like full employment and like healthcare, giving up what they had so they could have something that they think they wanted, you know, give up what they don't know what they want so they can gain what they think they want. But that's a little bit of a side tangent. But my main point is, well, I guess what I have to say is, there really is no point. The reason why I wanted to do this stream was because there's something interesting happened at work. I'm walking my dog right now. It's nighttime, as you can tell, and I had an interesting interaction with some people at work because something happened at my job that is really aggravating me. Okay, so basically, whenever there's high demand for labor at my job, and it is fucking slave labor, by the way, I'm telling you right now, at FedEx, it is, they crack the fucking whip. I don't think I've worked harder at any other job than FedEx. And I'm telling you guys, it's furniture, it's carpets, it's depleted uranium silos, pet rock collections, it's it's fucking laboratories containing miniature black holes. Like the mass and the from these objects is so heavy, it's compressed into a black hole in a box. Like this shit is heavy. And it isn't even that it's heavy that it's the problem. It's that I have to move 10,000 packages a night that weigh like as much as a compressed condensed black hole. That is the problem. But long story short, they're cutting our pay. Yeah, that's right. They're cutting our pay at my job. And what they're doing to keep people from quitting is they're cutting pay, but they're replacing it with an attendance bonus. So you're going to get the same pay as you did before, but instead, if you're even a minute late or if you call off on any days, then you forfeit like 30% of your paycheck. Yeah, you lose 30% of your paycheck just because you didn't have perfect attendance. That's fucking bullshit. Now isn't that? So I tried to use this as an agitating point on my job, or an agitating point while I was at work just the last few days I've been back from vacation. And I've been trying to get people behind the idea of doing a general strike. That way we can get our wages back, our sweet, sweet $20 an hour. So we're not getting paid 17 an hour plus some gay attendance bonus. Instead, we're getting a full 20 plus an attendance bonus. And I was agitating amongst that, like, guys, we could do a slowdown, or we could talk about our managers, and we could try and do like some sort of collective bargaining so that we can get our raise back, and we could have the attendance bonus, and we could, and that would be pretty lit. And I kid you not, guys, I talked to several people in that warehouse the last couple nights, and they're all just like, no, like none of them give a shit. I'm like, really? You're getting screwed up the ass financially, and you're gonna sit here and take it, and you're not gonna want to like try and do anything about it? Like, dude, I mean, I've been fucked pretty hard by my jobs. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I've ever been fucked so hard in my life to where I'm in a position where I could lose like 30% of my paycheck just because there's some bad traffic one day. You know, that sounds like some dystopic feudalism type shit to me. You know, and I'm sure it sounds like that to you guys. But long story short, I'm just trying to agitate. I'm trying to get some sort of like collective decision making done at my job. And I don't know, people are just largely apathetic and not interested. And it makes me think like, wow, people really people really don't care. Like people are just willing to put up with it. And it makes me wonder like I guess I have kind of a morbid curiosity with the American condition, the American experiment, because people in this country have been screwed over for so long that they've become woefully complicit in their own suffering. And not only that, but the ruling class of this country have perfectly and meticulously manufactured a culture of people that are basically willing to take whatever that they can get, you know, and everyone's just of the mindset of every man for himself. Take care of yourself because no one else is ever going to take care of you. You know, market psychology and commodification has literally penetrated every facet of human life. There is not a single means or a single ways by which we can subsist in modern day economy outside of the market. We have no non-market means by which we can survive. And what few non-market means by which we can survive that do exist, you're going to be relentlessly shamed for utilizing. Oh, you're in your 20s or 30s and you still live with your parents. Oh, you're a loser. You need to get your life together. Oh, you live on welfare. Well, you're lazy. You need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Oh, you're a drug dealer. You're supplementing your income. When you're a drug dealer, well, you're bad for the community. You're a threat to the community, etc. So, like, it's just incredible to me. Like, people are just suckers for punishment. I guess I don't know. This is like I said. This is just a rant. There really is no major point to this. I'm just sort of venting right now, and sometimes my mind goes to kind of dark places, and there are points where I'm thinking like, sometimes there's a very small part of me that wants to retire from like politics in general and like completely abandon this channel project and withdraw from the internet completely because there has been honestly, my life has gotten better since I've become a communist in the sense that it's become more rich intellectually and I've met a lot of really cool and interesting people like you guys. But on the other hand, there's a lot of stress with it that comes as well. Mainly just you no longer see the world how you want to see it. You instead see the world for how it is. And as it turns out, the world is a really shitty and fucked up place. So that can weigh on your psychology, especially when you have like no means to affect it. But then again, I guess that's the whole point of being communist is to you know garner and harness the means by which you can affect positive change for the better. Um, but still, I mean, I guess the point is that you got to keep trying and you got to keep working towards it and you got to keep trying to like getting people to care because people in general do not care. Um, but our job is to get people to care. One way or another, deep down, people know that something is deeply wrong. And deep down, like, people know. I mean, it really is just a sickness. It's a value system disorder more than anything else. Um, a lot of it just comes down to selfishness and individuality. And like I said, people are victims of the culture. They've been taught their entire lives that basic human decency itself is socialism, and socialism bad, government bad, and everybody's out for themselves, and everybody's just struggling to survive. And now we have an entire country full of people that hate each other's guts, you know? I mean, and because, capitalism is in perpetual crisis, the system is always in crisis. It's never not in crisis. The contradictions are actually apparent and obvious as day. I can point like 10 contradictions off the point of my head that we can agitate around and make, political propaganda around. And people won't look at the system itself. Instead, they'll blame corporatism. Instead, they'll blame XYZ minority, some Lacantian other, you know, some Lacantian other. So, I don't know. Long story short, the main point of this more than anything else is what I'm trying to tell you guys is to not give up. No matter how bad things get, as long as you keep fighting, you will never fail. Like, there is no such thing as true failure in the grand scheme of things. As long as you do everything right, you know what you're doing, and you keep fighting and you never give up. You will always be met with setbacks. You will always be met with adversaries, and you'll always come up with bumps in the road, so to speak. But as long as you keep fighting for what you believe in and you never give up, in a sense, you can never truly fail in the grand scheme of things because, I mean, you're reminding people what matters. You're telling people what matters. And yeah, most people are not going to rise to the occasion, but some of them will. And those people can go on to become your comrades because those are the people who care. And those are the people that are going to do the work to get other people to care, you know? And there is a glimmer of hope in the darkness, all right? So I've been saving a little bit of this rhetoric and a little bit of this conversation for a video essay that I've had on the back burner for literal goddamn months now. And it has to do with the synthetic left. It has to do with the wannabe mainstream bourgeois media or the bourgeois left in the United States that has emerged since the Sanders campaign. There's a kind of bourgeois left that has emerged, or as Caleb Maupin calls it, the synthetic left. And this bourgeois left includes, of course, as you know, the Radlibs and the Social Democrats. And the bourgeois left, in my eyes, is little more than it's a combination of capitalist realism for one, but the other thing, it is also a consequence of the cultural sickness that I am speaking of, as well as a general lack of theory. There is no new theory being produced, specifically to address the American condition, for one. Maybe there is, but I'm not aware of it. But on the other hand, um, there's also a sickness going on where people have this individualistic psychology where they blame groups of people over systematic problems and talk about systematic problems, so to speak. But anyways, this is the reason why we get the big YouTubers that we do, and this is the reason why uh, the modern day left talking heads are the biggest voices of the left in the United States. Like I said, I'm specifically talking about the American condition because that's where I'm from, and that's where most of you guys are from. So, if you're not a burger and you can't relate, you're a celery from another country, I understand. All right. But speaking as a burger, uh, the biggest voices on the mainstream left, both online and offline, are pedantic demagogues and opportunists. It's quintessential opportunism. These are people that don't really stand for anything, so they'll fall for anything. And one person that I've been meaning to levy more criticism towards is Jimmy Dore, because like a Jimmy Dore is an example of what I'm talking about. Populism for the sake of populism to the point to where you're going to platform literally far right wingers, and this is a reasonable criticism. Now, there's other people as well. I mean, I did watch the video about Kyle interviewing and Crystal Ball interviewing who, and they were talking about how we got to try to appeal to the far right or the right wing. No, we fucking don't. You know, I agree with S4A. Like I watched their interview and I watched S4A's video about it, and I'm on his side. No, we should be trying to convert right wingers. We shouldn't be trying to fucking pander to them. And this is the thing that and this is the thing that I'm talking about. Like right wing ideology needs to die. It needs to go. It needs to be strangled in the crib. It needs to be strangled. It needs to go away. So I am cool with our culture completely shedding and abandoning right wing ideology. Yeah, what? Homophobia? Anti drug sentiments? Um, Pro capitalism? Like, think about what conservatism is. I mean, it's fundamentally a very cucked ideology if you're thinking about it. Think about what they're conserving. They're talking about conserving an old backward culture that makes people less free, that makes life generally less enjoyable for everybody. Like, nah, fuck that bullshit. I'm a progressive, and you know, I don't know. Damn, 25 viewers. Look at that. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and read some comments because I want to make this a little interactive. Little late night rants. Let's make this interactive. I am very toasty right now. I drink a lot of wine, but right wing ideology is a product of, yes, it is. You can have the ideology dead until the system changes. Yeah, but in the time being, we need to address it culturally because it is a problem. The issue is that we have a bourgeois culture that people internalize, which reproduces bourgeois ideology. So on one hand, so you have the left and the right wing of bourgeois ideology. On one hand, you have conservatives that are woefully fucking cucked to the status quo, and on the other hand, you have shit libs who, are going to be like, we need to come together, we need to bridge the divide, we can't tear down these ideas. We got to come together. Lesser of two evils. We got to vote Hindenburg to stop Hitler, so to speak. And I mean, they're both very fucking cucked and in the box. And I mean, it's that way by design. Like the powers that be want it to be that way because they want a controlled opposition in the form of the bourgeois left that doesn't fundamentally challenge power in the ways that power needs to be challenged in order to issue real social change. You know, let's see. Anyways, soy, it shows. Cope, Uyghur buddy. Go back to Haz's stream. Don't you have an infrared stream to watch right now? Isn't infrared streaming right now? What are you doing here? What are you doing? What are you doing here? Why don't you go up Haz's ass and go up infrared's ass? If you're gonna fling shit and you're gonna spam mindless bullshit that doesn't contribute anything to the discourse, then why don't you go over to infrared where you belong? Yeah, you know what? I'll just ban you. Or maybe not. I'll let you have your fun. Whatever. But anyways, bro, you got cracked toes. No, I'm just wearing sandals. Just stream. Anyway, no, he's not streaming today. Well, you need to go over there, bro. You've been trolling my comment sections, and you know what? Like I said, I'll let you have your fun. You can have your fun. Whatever. I'm just gonna ignore you from now on. So, anyways, everyone ignore Uyghur Bowl Gang. He's just trolling. But anyways. So ironic that the infrared fans don't realize the soy. Yeah, no. Let me ask. I'm not going to go on that tangent. I'm not even going to touch that shit. All right. I want to talk about. I want to talk about the condition, the morbid condition of U.S. politics today. That is the reason why I am on this goddamn walk. I am not talking about infrared. Infrared has ceased to be relevant since I won the debate on China with it. But anyways, you can't be anti-conservative, man. Conservatives make up. No, they don't. They make up a shrinking minority of the population. It's a dying ideology belonging to old boomers out in the suburbs. And the only people that are alive today that are adopting it are young, naive teens, alienated teens, sexually frustrated teens that don't know any better. I mean, things need to change. I mean, don't get me wrong. What's replacing it and the culture that's emerging in its wake is also very cringe. But old school conservative ideology too is very cringe. And what we need to do is replace it with a set of values and beliefs that helps actualize people as individuals without, of course, alienating or coming at the expense of other human beings. I mean, communism will win. Communism, is it winning right now? I mean, it's becoming a little more popular. I mean, we're becoming slightly less fringe. But, I mean, the left is functionally dead in the United States. I mean, the trade unions are dwindling. The unions that are left are all class collaborationist unions that exist to crack down on populist sentiments. Um, the people that claim to be communists are, I mean, really just LARPers more than anything else. Um, and the ones that legitimately are communists are participating in cults, like the PSL. Like the PSL is a cult. The Socialist Alternative is a cult. The Revolutionary Communist Party, led by Bob Avakian, is a cult. That's what I'm saying, man. We need. I mean, I know what the problem is. The common problem behind all these orgs. Um, Not gonna act like I'm an expert on the issue, but I mean it's plain as day. Even a blind man can see what the problem is with all these fringe organizations, you know. But anyways, yeah, exactly. Fascism and liberalism, two sides of the same coin. Um, I'm so glad you guys could join me on this walk, by the way. But no, I'm fully convinced that fascism and liberalism are, in fact, two sides of the same coin. Liberalism will embed, enable, and establish fascism whenever there's a threat to the liberal status quo. Um, but the dynamic has completely changed. It's become its opposite. It's flipped on its head. The dialectic has it's a reverse dialectic now. The liberal establishment, instead of propping up fascism, which is really just hyper conservatism on like 10 grams of meth, um, instead the mainstream establishment finds it better to demonize fascism and, well, of course, lump it in with communism. That way people associate communism with fascism. But more importantly, to demonize it, to lump it in with us and so that they can just keep getting their pro status quo liberal establishment candidates progressively voted in over and over again. That's really the strategy. And I'm not saying it's a grand conspiracy. It's a value system disorder. It's class interest more than anything else. It's one giant grift that has been socially engineered by the powers that be to you know because Biden serves their interests better than Trump, so it's in their material interests to back the Dems because Trump represents instability. Trump represents randomness, and they don't like that. But anyways, I'm gonna scroll back to the bottom. Yo, these skull emojis are, yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, it is. Radical liberalism is basically petty bourgeois leftism. It's an offspring. It's the bastard offspring of the individualistic ideology that I'm talking about, where you know it's about voting. It's about supporting certain brands. It's about canceling. It's very. All I'm trying to say is there's very little organizing going on out there's very little organizing going on outside of the scope of the Kolinsky circles and the Destiny and Xanderhall circles, is all that I am trying to say. Damn, it's only been 24 minutes. I had to polish off that wine. Get back. Thoughts on the Braun? I mean, do you mean LeBron James? I don't really watch sports, comrade. Still maintain that capitalism is a conspiracy by the rich to prevent. I mean, yeah, I mean, at this point, capitalism is a woefully out of date economic system. It's really only maintained for the sole purpose of private accumulation at this point. Capitalism ceased to be a relevant economic system since the computer revolution of the 1970s. Like, straight up, we should have transitioned to like a low stage of socialism right then and there. Like, capitalism has not been relevant for literally half a century. You know, neoliberalism wasn't inevitable. we could be living in semi fully automated luxury gay communism right now. And we could also be winning against climate change while we're at it. You know, these decisions are not unconsciously made. These are conscious decisions made by individual actors that, you know, serve the collective unconsciousness of, well, the capitalist system. I mean, Marx, noted that capitalism has laws of motion and it seems to act with an unconscious will of its own. But really, it's the will of the collective unconscious of humanity in general. And I mean, really, humanity in general, the best way to think of it is people are just on autopilot. Um, yeah, people are just on autopilot. They're not, it's not like they know that the decisions they're making are bad. People are acting within their own best intentions. I mean, everybody means well, you know. All right, Chris Morlock, you are a pseudoscience. You don't understand the greatness that is analytic. I have no idea what you are talking about. Bad mouthing all fascism is a poor idea too. There are Marxist fascists now. Okay, I'm about to start banning motherfuckers left and right. All right, it. Goodbye. Yeah, no, bye bye, bye bye, Marxist fascists. Nope, you're out of here. Goodbye, gone. See you later. Let's see. CPUSA Gorilla. What would push us to actual leftist organization? That is an excellent question. I mean, really, just organizing workplaces in general. It's just so difficult because it's not like people are participating in a collective supply chain to produce the things that make civilization possible anymore. People are Uber drivers and Pizza Hut delivery boys now. I mean, we're living in a service economy, so it's a little bit more difficult just because the degree of atomization and alienation is greater than ever before. But we just have to use a lot of the same tools we've always had. And the one major tool, I mean, that we have at our disposal, which is kind of a godsend in a way, is really the internet. We can now contact other people at light speeds. So organizing like protests and strikes through the internet is incredibly useful. Um, in regards to like individual workplaces, just getting people to care, just trying to like form study circles, like Marxist study circles and so on, and get in contact with people across supply chain and so on. And get, I mean, like I said, it's very difficult. It's something that I've been working on, like just general agitation for weeks now, and I mean, I'm trying to get somewhere, and I mean, I've got some people interested in Marxist study circle, so I mean, there is that. It's not easy though. Anyways, have you seen the documentary by Naomi Klein that told how Argentinian works took their bankrupted workplace and made it into a co-op and won in the court? I have not, but if you message me over Discord and you send me a link to it, I'd be happy to watch it. That may also be meta consideration because it makes it easier for the state to know we were planning. Yeah, not if you use Tails. So, OPSEC. OPSEC is the thing that you guys need to learn about. Operational security. I'm not saying. I mean, when it comes to very broad mass events, yes, use public platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and so on. But whenever it comes to anything a little bit more discreet, like secretive organizing that you want to get done, you're going to want to use Tails. Tails is the type of operating system used by multi-billionaire pedophile rings to hide the fact that they're pedo porkies that are, engaging in sexual acts with children. That's what you guys want to use. You want to use Tails. You want to use the the Tor browser on steroids is basically what Tails is. I have a buddy of mine that showed me how to use it, and it's the best way to keep all your shit encrypted and stay completely anonymous and hidden. And I'm just trying to say we need to learn from the best. We need to learn from the billionaire pedophile rings on how to stay completely hidden and anonymous if that is fundamentally what our goal is. Learn from the best, learn from the ruling class, use their own tactics against them. I'm just saying that's what they do. Sure, you can have a wrench. Oops, not you. Going to the FBI HQ to blacklist non-LARPers from communist orgs. Sad. Do you know anything about Chile's leftist victory? They are writing a new constitution, changing from Pinochet's constitution. The Communist Party has the support of like 25% of the country. I'm not too familiar with the situation in Chile since I have been following it recently. But that's good news. No, like I said, contradictions are intensifying, and I feel like it's going to be like the second and third world countries that where things are really going to be changing first. I feel like things are going to definitely be changing very rapidly when the water wars come. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I am investing in water stock. I'm going to be putting fucking uh tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars in clean drinking water. I'm going to be investing in big water. I'm going to be putting my shit into Nestle, and I'm going to be taking that money back. All right, me taking that sweet, sweet porky money back. But long story short, yeah, no, with because of climate change, there's going to be some serious goddamn droughts in the coming decades. And, Pakistan and India are already having conflicts over water. You've got African countries that are already like having to institute some degree of economic planning over water. I just feel like we're going to be forced to utilize planned economy and resource based economics one way or another, just because, like, the resources that we need to survive on a regular basis are going to become so unbelievably scarce. The problem is, like, America has this mega sized military, and we're just going to use it as an excuse to invade these countries just so we can take the last of, like, the raw natural resources needed to sustain human life, or at the very least sustain the wasteful and spoiled, lavish lifestyles of like most upper class Americans. Anyways, water coin. Yes, exactly. Water coin. Water coin is one. That's some good shit. Water coin. How to keep that in mind? I don't know. Well, I mean that's pretty much it. Is there really anything else I had on my mind right now? Oh yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Long story short, things are intensifying, things are getting worse. But what I will say is, like agitating will only get easier as the contradictions intensify. But there is a burden, or a particular burden that we have to deal with, and specifically in the United States, that we have this incredibly toxic culture, like this incredibly toxic and insulated, atomized culture that we've got to deal with. Like in order it's just such a massive, incomprehensible barrier to the point to even the left wing opposition that exists in this country. The left wing opposition that exists in this country fundamentally just reproduces capitalist economic relations. Their form of opposition takes us back to the ruling class. You know, just saying, Mister Lesser of Two Evils, so to speak. That's just an example of that. I heard a billion fucking left shit libs on the internet espousing that the other day. Um, but anyways, that's what we have to deal with. That's what our burden is in America. And that's kind of like the condition that we're really going to have to overcome. So I feel like what we need more than anything else are like social critics and, yeah, like social critics, um, like kind of a counterculture. That's really what I'm thinking more than anything else, a counterculture of some kind, where we basically create culture, arts, and so on that reproduce and internalize leftist and socialist values. Now, I don't really know how effective this would be, so to speak. I've talked to some friends of mine about this, but like creating an art and culture that internalizes leftist values is kind of like the general idea that I'm talking about right here. I don't know the exact value or the um, possibility or practicality of it, but I feel like at the very least undermining the mainstream culture and society and undermining the like market relations and providing people with like non-market modes of surviving as well as creating uh, like spurring a culture like a communistic culture, so to speak. So a revolution of the culture, one could call it. Um, like what Marcuse and all the neo-Marxists advocate. I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing mud at the walls at this point, guys. Like I'm just shooting the shit with you guys. I'm trying to come up with some ideas because I honestly don't know. Like, what is to be done is such a huge question. And I'm glad you're all here, and I'm glad you all care as much as I do, or at least a similar amount that I do. If you guys got ideas, you know how to find my Discord, and I would be more than willing to talk to you about all this. But anyways, do you think we'll go full Fallout 4 or Mad Max someday? Yeah. So there's a reason why post-apocalyptic literature is become so popular. And it's the idea that, oh, the world's going to shit, but me, this individualistic badass, this single one elite guy is gonna mow down all these zombies or take down all these mutants or raiders and so on. Me, this single badass. I'm the only guy in the whole wasteland whose shit doesn't stink, you know. I don't know. I'm not trying to say like post-apocalyptic fiction is bourgeois, but I'm just saying like, why don't we have a post-apocalyptic video game about working together, about building a community where we don't repeat the mistakes of the past and we make the world a better place? You know, just an idea, just food for thought. Not saying I don't like Fallout. I fucking love Fallout, but just planting a little seed right there. My dog's name, he's right here. Say hello to the dog baby. I don't know if you guys can see him, but he's right there. Anyways, I'm gonna kill the stream. Anywho, good night, guys, and good luck. Just running my mouth. I hope I didn't. I have a habit of saying things that I really need to read the TOS of YouTube because I have a habit of saying things that could get my shit taken off YouTube. So that's something I definitely need to do. I'm just running my mouth unfiltered, as you guys know. So thanks for joining me. I'm probably gonna do these like once every couple of months. Uh, but yeah, I got video essays planned. I've been writing essays. I have been busting it out at the keyboard. I've got actual like real content planned, so keep your eyes peeled for that. No more drunk ramblings in the middle of the night. Actual high quality edited videos are coming your way soon. Patreons who have been helping me pay my bills, much obliged, greatly appreciated. Thank you for the supplementary income. Good night, guys. Love y'all. Take it easy.